Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we will be learning about identification tests. So let's begin.
To start with, let's talk about the flame test. For this test, we need a platinum wire that has been cleaned by dipping it into concentrated acid and holding it in a Bunsen flame. After that, dip the cleaned wire into the acid again to make it moist and then dip the wire into the compound that needs to be tested. Before the last step, keep a Bunsen burner ready and hold the wire with the compound in the Bunsen flame. Holding the wire like this will change the color of the solid. This color can be matched with colors on a chart to determine the metal ion present in the solid.
Here are the different colors that various metal ions produce during the flame test. Lithium ions give a red color. Sodium ions give an orange color. Potassium ions give a lilac color and copper 2+ ions give a bluish-green color. That's all about flame tests.
Now let's discuss about the other tests. In these tests either aqueous sodium hydroxide or aqueous ammonium hydroxide can be used. To test for ammonium ions, add sodium hydroxide to the compound to be tested and provide heat gently. If a gas bubbles off, hold a red litmus paper and if it turns blue, it confirms that ammonium ions were present in the solution. For copper 2+, when sodium hydroxide is added, a blue precipitate will form. For iron 2+, a green precipitate will form when sodium hydroxide is added. For iron 3+, a red-brown precipitate will form, and for chromium 3+ ions, a grey-green precipitate will form. These are only the colored precipitates, but what if a white precipitate is formed? In this case there are only three conclusions. 1. The metal ion may be aluminium. 2. The metal ion may be calcium, and 3. The metal ion may be zinc. But how can we confirm which is which? We have to add both excess aqueous sodium hydroxide and excess aqueous ammonium hydroxide to confirm the metal ion. If aluminium ions are present, the white precipitate will dissolve in excess aqueous sodium hydroxide but not in excess aqueous ammonium hydroxide. If calcium ions are present, the white precipitate will not dissolve in either aqueous sodium hydroxide or excess aqueous ammonium hydroxide. If zinc ions are present, the white precipitate will dissolve in both excess aqueous sodium hydroxide or excess aqueous ammonium hydroxide.
Now let's learn about the tests for anions. First of all, halide ions. To test for these ions, add an equal amount of dilute nitric acid into the solution that is to be tested. After that, add silver nitrate solution. Depending on which halide is present, a different colored precipitate will appear. A white-colored precipitate will appear if chloride ions are present. A cream-colored precipitate will appear if bromide ions are present. A yellow-colored precipitate will appear if iodide ions are present. Moving on, let's learn about the test for sulfate ions. Take the sample to be tested and add an equal volume of dilute hydrochloric acid and then barium nitrate solution. A white precipitate will form if sulfate ions are present. To test for carbonate ions, add a small amount of dilute hydrochloric acid, and if gas bubbles evolve from the solution which turns lime water milky, then carbonate ions were present. To test for nitrate ions, add a little amount of sodium hydroxide solution and then some aluminium foil. After doing that, provide heat gently. If a gas is given off and if that gas turns red litmus paper blue, then nitrate ions were present in the solution tested. Lastly, let's learn the method to test for sulfite ions. First, add dilute hydrochloric acid in a little amount and then provide heat gently. If a gas bubbles and if that converts a piece of filter paper dipped in acidified aqueous potassium manganate 7 from purple to colorless, then sulfite ions were present in the solution.
That's all about anions. What about the tests for gases? Don't worry, we got you covered. To test for ammonia gas, hold a piece of red litmus paper and if it turns blue, then the presence of ammonia gas can be confirmed. For carbon dioxide, bubble the gas through lime water and if it turns cloudy, the gas is carbon dioxide. For chlorine gas to be tested, hold a piece of litmus paper near it. If the litmus paper bleaches, chlorine gas is present. To test for oxygen gas, holding a piece of glowing splint and if it relights, oxygen gas is present. To test for hydrogen gas, hold a piece of lighted splint and if the gas burns with a squeaky pop, hydrogen gas is present. To test for sulfur dioxide, as we said earlier, hold a piece of filter paper that was dipped in acidified aqueous potassium manganate 7 and if its color changes from purple to colorless, then sulfur dioxide gas is present.
That's all for this video. We hope that you learned something about identification tests. Hit that like button and share this video with your friends who might find this helpful. Also don't forget to subscribe to our channel